Green Arrow number 16, written by Ann Nocenti, art by Freddie Williams II. This is the last issue of Ann Nocenti's run, and I guess it feels like it. So, last issue we left off with Green Arrow breaking up a dogfighting ring where there was also a kid fighting, and I was unsure as to whether or not it was a kid last issue. Definitely is a kid. And he strings up the ringleader, and the ringleader calls to all his thugs saying, "Oh, I'll put a bounty on his head, just kill him now." So this opens up, all the people are charging Green Arrow. He fires off like 5 arrows at once, takes them all down. And then he aims an arrow at, what's his name, Harrow, I think it is? Yeah, he aims an arrow at Harrow. Boy, that's dumb. And says, "Take the price off my head and I won't take out your other good eye." And he's like, "That's not going to happen." And then the cops show up because I guess somebody called him. And Green Arrow's like, "Officers, I've got them all here." And the officers are like, For what? What do they do? And he's like, "This was a dogfighting ring, officers." And they're like, "Who cares? Like, whatever matters." Like, okay, well, it's a dogfighting ring where they also had kids in the ring. And he's just like, "Fine, whatever. I think it's a free country. You should be allowed to do that." And Green Arrow's like, "Are you kidding me? Whatever, just arrest him." And so he walks out. And the same girl from last issue who's just like sitting there twirling a baton is like, "Hey, Green Arrow, you saved that one woman who was going to jump off a bridge before." And she's like, "What?" And then all of a sudden, the red-haired woman, Gloria, from last issue, comes peeling up. And it's just like, "Hey, remember that kid who was in the dogfighting pit? He's going to blow himself up, and I need your help, Green Arrow." And Green Arrow's like, "All right, cool." And the baton girl is like, "Oh, darn. Missed my chance again," because she's an important character here. So last issue, they said this whole thing that there's going to be a parade going down the street. It's just important to know that for the final bit, as we see parade people setting up. But Gloria drives Green Arrow to the place where Pike, the kid, has wired an entire building of ammunition, like apparently Civil War era stuff. Don't know why it's here, but it's all going to blow as soon as he flicks the trigger. And he goes upstairs and he's like, "Yeah, okay, can you just talk him down, Green Arrow? Because he really does look up to you. He thinks you're super cool." So we go up to the roof and Pike still has an ice pick in his hand. Gloria's like, "Hey, can we talk? Can we just like talk for a little bit?" And she's like, "No, you got to get out of here. I don't want to kill you guys." And Gloria's like, "You're not going to do that. We're all good. We're all cool." She goes over. He still has the ice pick in his hand. She takes it out. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm so lost." And Green Arrow's like, "Hey, man, here's the thing. I've also lost a lot of stuff, like my money and whatnot recently. We can find it together. You can have some great skills." And he hands Pike the bow and arrow. And he takes a shot and he's like, "Wow, I did really good." And Green Arrow's like, "You sure did." And then all of a sudden, Harrow shows up. And he's like, "Oh, look at that. We're playing Big Happy Family, aren't we?" It turns out that the cops, they respond to money. Because of course they do. And he got out with barely a scratch on him. And so they go up after each other, Green Arrow versus Harrow. Gloria jumps into the mix, briefly being like, "Oh, I'm done with you. You've ruined enough lives." And then she's immediately just taken out again. Parade's going on. So there's helicopters flying by and they see this rooftop scuffle and then realize, wait a minute, it looks like there's a bunch of wires and stuff. I think they're going to blow up that building. We got to evacuate this entire parade route area. So they push everybody back way far away. Battle's still going on. Green Arrow runs out of arrows because, of course, he does. We see that Harrow, he has a special ice pick that he always keeps on him because that's his backstory, is he lost his eye from his dad using an ice pick on him. And genuinely, it's just an extended fight scene. Like, they go back and forth like, "Oh, you don't know what you're fighting for." "Yes, I do." Either way, SWAT team shows up and they're like, "Okay, there are possibly civilians on that roof because they're not involved in the fight. We're going to drop down 2 little tether cables and we're going to get them off the roof." But then Green Arrow's like, "No, you're going to take Harrow and Gloria because I've knocked out Harrow. He's no longer a problem and you're going to arrest him. And Gloria needs to get off the roof before Pike's thing goes off." And then wouldn't you know it, as they're trying to get Pike separated from his entire like suicide vest, Whoops, it goes off. So they've only got 30 seconds, and Green Arrow's like, that's fine, it's plenty of time, no big deal. Gets Gloria off the roof, grabs Pike, and they both do like a Batman grapple off the top as the entire building explodes. And it's not a bunch of debris flying and killing people as it should be. It turns out it's fireworks, or at least it looks a lot like fireworks. And everyone's like, wow, what a wonderful parade. Thanks, Green Arrow. So he lands, he drops off Pike. The one baton twirler shows back up again, just like, Green Arrow, you just saved everyone from that explosion. Also, you saved that one girl from jumping off the bridge. And he's like, what are you what girl? And it's just like, oh, that one girl, Pauline Pearl, she wanted to die. She rode her motorcycle right off the bridge. You saved her, and now she is like so grateful that you saved her life. And Green Arrow's like, oh yeah, I remember her. She hated the fact that I saved her life. Good to see she turned it around. And he walks away from the baton twirler, who's just left there, and his final page is, somebody once said, fate is what happens despite the best laid plans, one arrow at a time. That's it. That's Ann Nocenti's run. Okay. I don't really know what more to say about it that I haven't already said. I don't think the art style really fit that well for Green Arrow. I think it was a bit too weird in places where we needed just a bit more street level, a bit darker. It's, writing wise, never really been great. It's always just been these either extremely convoluted plots where I feel like we're not getting anything, or these extremely basic plots where I feel like, really, that's how you wanted to spend the entire issue? As for this particular one, it wasn't awful, but like if you really break down what happened, he arrested some dog ring thing, which even then was a bit weird in how it was executed. And then the guy that he arrested immediately comes back and they just have a rooftop fight. It didn't feel like an ending to a run. It barely felt like an ending to an arc. So, I don't know. I'm just not impressed by like anything in this run. So if I really had to give a rating to it, I'll give it like a 5.5. It's not the worst. It's not like Green Arrow has had a horrible history in terms of writers. This issue itself is not the worst we've seen, by far. But it isn't good either. It's just there. It's just, sure, why not? Green Arrow needs to have an issue come out this month. This is what we've got. Now, coming up next is the Jeff Lemire run. Jeff Lemire. Definitely looking forward to that. That is going to be some top tier stuff there. But as for this, 5.5. May you rest in peace.